All right, we did a squat day today, me and Hunter. This was good. We had a plan to try this out. This is the Yukon bar, which is like the Buffalo bar that I squatted on earlier, but it's got an even deeper bend to it. And then we wanted to load it up with some crazy band tension, so we doubled up these Elite FTS green bands. And I meant to take a video of this for proof, but Hunter has an actual fishing scale, so we did the rating on this, and at his height, which we're both pretty close. I'm a tad taller. It was 90 pounds per side of band tension, so it's 180 pounds plus bar weight. Both of us had a goal of not doing anything too crazy fatiguing on this day. So, Hunter worked up to two reds. I got to three reds and a white. So somewhere around like 410 for me, or yeah, something in that range for weight. 410 plus, 180 pounds at the top. So, good squat. The one problem I had is I was starting to feel a little pain in, like, it was either my hamstring or my adductor. It was almost like, the back of my leg, but inside where it almost meets the groin. And so, like, you get a little pain like that, and you kind of go through this game in your head where it's like, oh man, is it because I'm dehydrated? Like, I did just do a meet with 13 lifters. I didn't compete, but I coached 13 lifters in one meet. Very fatiguing day just to run around mentally, physically, and emotionally. And so, yeah, I don't know if my electrolytes were all on. So, there was that. This is Hunter said. I think he did 7 reps with two reds. So it should be like 275 plus the 180 pounds of band tension. And it was cool because I think what Hunter learned, and I told him this about this bar, is that if you crazy hard core brace, you can kind of make it almost feel like a regular bar. But as you get into that midway point, you can see where he starts to get a little bit tipped forward. If you lose your core bracing, that bar will try to fold you. So here's my set, and and I'm big and I'm strong right now. This is probably upwards of the biggest body weight I've ever been, but with more muscle mass. I was 350 once before, like last June, but I have more muscle mass right now. So these felt stupid light. So, but the problem was I was still sitting there going, man, if that little pain turns into an injury, I'm going to be pissed because, we got the competition in March. I don't need to hurt myself. This isn't even one of the competition lifts. This is just for conditioning and leg strength. So, I did my 8 reps and it was super, super easy. Hunter was feeling like it was a little bit hard. And so he dropped down by about, what is that, like 10 kilos each side. Made it a little bit easier. Still crazy heavy weight. It's 220 plus 180 pounds of band tension. So it's still, well and heavy for him at the top. And he's still doing crazy good reps. Great depth, too. One thing about the Yukon bar is because it's tipping you over like that, it's kind of scary when you get to the bottom. You'll see a lot of lifters will tend to cut the depth a little high, and Hunter was just burying him, which is awesome. I think Hunter's turning into a great squatter. I'm going to say it's because he decided to have a workout partner who is just such a natural squatter. I'm not coaching Hunter by any means. If anything, Hunter's coaching me. But I definitely think that I'm starting to influence him and making him into a better squatter. So I told him, I was like, man, these are stupid easy. So instead of going up in weight, what I decided to do was do pause reps. And I probably didn't do a full 8 this time. It was probably more like 5 or 6. But I got the good pauses in. It definitely made it more challenging. It still felt stupid easy, so that's good. Yeah, I'm actually looking back in this video now. I'm pretty happy with my depth too. That's definitely good enough. Hip crease is below the knee. I'm getting excited because I'm training for the strongman meet in March, but also hitting a lot of powerlifting, PRs for me and on different volume sets and stuff like that. So I feel like when I get into doing USPA Nationals prep after March, all my lifts are already going to be way ahead of where they were going into that prep. So super exciting. So we were going to do leg press. We've been doing like a unilateral leg press, but somehow we decided to do this split squat machine, which is for me extremely hard and extremely taxing. I think Hunter said it was hard too. Yeah, I found this to be just like really taxing. We had 25 pounds per side. I don't know what the machine weighs, but these really take it out of you. So actually, this is the most weight I've ever done on it. My coach Pete Rubish had me doing a lot of unilateral split squat work. For a while there, we did Hatfield SSB split squats, and I worked up to like 300 pounds. But with it being Hatfields, you can kind of support the weight with the bar in front of you. So This is probably actually better in my opinion. I feel it more in my glutes. And I was having no pain by this point in that leg, so probably was just like a hydration thing. So feeling good. One thing I've learned about doing split squats like this for me, little Hunter's finger in there as he finds the right camera angle. I have to rest, and Pete always told me this. I have to rest between legs because it's so freaking fatiguing that like I'll do 10 on my right leg and then go to do 10 on my left, and I'll get like 5, and I'm just too out of breath. Hunter wasn't feeling whatever the range of motion was on this, so he ended up doing like the reverse of this, which is a lot more like a weighted rear lunge. But if he was feeling it, that was good. I don't get crazy depth on these, but I definitely feel it in my glute and hamstring. So really good. And just in general, I think since I started doing unilateral work, my squat and deadlift have definitely gone up. I think everybody at some point needs to do some good unilateral work. For me, I probably have that classic problem that people talk about where like one glute isn't firing as well. And I was definitely told, when I do my bird dogs, which is one of the warm up exercises I do, and I don't do them like a Pilates instructor like a lot of people. So I'm really like flexing my glute when I do that. I can usually tell that my left does not fire as hard as my right. So definitely something important to work on. Yeah, then we went right into leg extensions. This leg extension is goated. Hunter loves it. I have no idea how much the weight was, but growing my quads was definitely one of my biggest goals in this strongman slash off season. And it's part of why my body weight is up because, like, in order to grow, you have to be able to put on muscle. So I definitely eat in a calorie surplus, pretty darn consistently, and a lot of protein. So it's been good to hammer this kind of stuff and grow my quads, and I can see it, and I can see it translating over to my lifts. I think Hunter's in the same boat. He's trying to put on some mass while he does this, especially because he's going to be competing with some big boys in this upcoming strongman meet. And I think part of that is he wanted to test himself amongst the best of the best, and part of it was they didn't have like a really good spread of weight classes in this particular strongman comp. Sometimes they do. In this particular one, I think he had to either be like 235 or be a super heavyweight, something like that. And so he was like, yeah, I'm not going to cut down to that body weight. He's walking around, I think, at like 255 most of the time. So yeah, so he's gonna have to compete with guys like me, who right now I was weighing like 340 this morning. You can see I'm talking shit with some powerlifters in there. Probably just telling them how strong and handsome I am. Counting how many reps I can do. I have no idea what all I was saying, but definitely not doing my leg extensions like I probably should have been. Yeah, I definitely think that it's been a lot of fun to be doing this strongman stuff though, because and I was talking to somebody about this today. I think stepping away from the power lifts and working on your athleticism, your conditioning and your weaknesses is one of the best things you can do. And it's not necessarily what's popular right now. I think in powerlifting in general, most people are just doing SPDs and frequency. And they think that's making them better, and maybe for a lot of people, especially if you're genetically gifted. But you can see here, I wanted to push some core work, so we did some decline sit-ups. That's a 50-pound dumbbell, no problem for my abs, but I was feeling some crazy pulling and pain in my hip flexors, so I decided to call it there. Once my hip flexors feel good, yeah, see right there, I'm telling them how my hip flexors hurt doing that. My hip flexors feel good because my core is super strong. That's one where I want to build up to being able to do like, 100-pound dumbbell on those sit-ups because it feels really good. Actually, Hunter was describing it. It's like you can do a sit-up, and then as you get to that top range, you can do a crunch, and that combination is really nice. Here we did some calf work. You normally won't see me doing calf work for the dumbest reason ever, which is because in powerlifting right now, we tend to use knee sleeves, and calves make it harder to get my knee sleeves on. So, not a big fan of doing calf work normally.